There are two types of addressing in S7 programming: absolute and symbolic. Absolute addressing means simply entering the addresses just as we've been doing up to now. For example, here, IOO, IO1, and Q40 are the absolute addresses that have been entered for these inputs and outputs. This type of addressing works well for programs with a limited number of inputs and outputs. In these types of programs, it is easy to understand that, for example, IOO is the address for the first start switch, IO1 is for second start switch, and Q40 is the output address. But, for example, when a program has more than 200 inputs and outputs, as we're writing or troubleshooting the program, figuring out the facility every absolute address belongs to is very difficult and time-consuming. So what's the solution? In these cases, we need to use symbolic addressing. So what is symbolic addressing? Well, it's when we consider using a symbolic name for every address in the program, and this makes it easy to understand which facility every address belongs to. Okay. So how can we use this feature? Well, we can use a table called a symbol table. We can access this table from the option menu here. As you can see, this table has three main columns. The first column is labeled symbol, the next one is address, and the next is data type. In the symbol section, we should enter a relevant name for the address. For instance, if we want to have a symbolic address for the first start switch, we can enter the words first start here. In the address section, we enter the absolute address for the symbolic name. Here, the address of the first start is IOO, so we write that in this box and hit enter on the keyboard. In the data type section, we also need to specify the data type of the address. Here, because IOO is a digital input and therefore can only be either 0 or 1, we leave the data type Boolean as it is. You'll learn more about the different types of Step 7 data in the advanced lessons. Now, if we save this table and navigate back to the OB1, as you can see, the symbolic name of first start has been added for the IOO input. We can also enter the symbolic name of second start for IO1 and press for the Q40 address. Now, if we save the table again, we can see that symbolic names have now been added for these addresses. If you cannot see the symbolic addresses here, it's possible that the symbol information option is disabled in the software. By enabling this option, the symbolic addresses will be added above the absolute addresses here.